Welcome to the Northumberland County Farmers Market Podcast. I'm Rebecca, also known as the Naughty Jam Lady. Welcome. It's so nice to see you. Okay, so I had a big weekend. I finally made it up to the Campbellford Farmers Market, and oh my gosh, my whole experience started before I even got there. Also, at one point, I fed a man jam this weekend and made a woman literally drop her jaw. But before we get into all of that, we got to talk about today's sponsor, who is Stonehouse Candle Co. Again, second time. They're a small, locally owned candle company that makes hand-poured soy candles and home fragrance products. And they introduce like seasonal scents to keep your collection like ever changing, which is really nice. Stonehouse Candle Co. is also really supportive of local by sponsoring the Trent Hills Titans, which is youth football, and supporting St. Mary Catholic School in Campbellford, their breakfast program, making sure that basically students have a good meal to start the day. You can actually shop online at www.stonehousecandleco.ca and keep track of where they are at the markets through Instagram at StonehouseCCO. And if you are hoping to make a difference in your community, just buy a candle. Buy a candle from Stonehouse Candle Co. and they will do it for you because of like everything that they're into and sponsoring and supporting right now. So thank you so much, Rachel. I really, really appreciate it. Now, okay, this weekend, Campbellford Farmers Market. My experience started before I even got there. I was driving into town and everyone was going so slow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's cottage drivers. And then I noticed there was like a car on the lawn. And then I kept going and there was a car on the lawn. And then there was another one, but this one was really fancy. And I'm like, oh, there's like cars parking on the boulevard for some reason. And then I saw the sign that said Chrome on the Canal. It's a car show. I didn't know. I don't know these things. I'm an elder millennial. I can't afford special cars. Don't say that to my husband. Anyway, because he has like 3 special cars or whatever, but whatever. They just sit and collect dust. Better take that out, eh? Anyway, so that was kind of fun. So driving along, I got to see some really crazy cars on the way in. And then I got to the market. It was a little bit quiet. I was one of the first people there, but that's so typically me. Got all set up, and I was right beside Ava from Hello Farm and Community Care because they came out to do some community outreach while the market was on, which was very, very cool. And my friend Rachel of Stonehouse Candle Co. lives in Campbellford, so she said, I'll come by, I'll check it out. I said, okay. So she came by. Now, the market starts at 9 a.m., and Campbellford is very sticklery about that, which I don't blame them. Insurance purposes, totally get it. I've just never been to a market where it's been that enforced before. But I did like it because you know what it meant? It meant that I could actually go around at 10 to 9 and meet all the other vendors who were there because I've never been here before, right? So I'm like an interloper. So I went around and I tried to introduce myself and like get names, but my memory's just awful. So I took pictures of everybody's table at the market so I could help like remind myself what people were doing. And so that was really, really nice. I saw a lot of great stuff there too, but we'll get into that in a second. So Rachel comes to see me at the market. Hi, how you doing? I said, Rachel, can you do me a favor? There is J&C Lemon Squeeze, which is like a lemonade tent, just over beside Dang, who does Thai food. And I said, can you go over and grab us 2 lemonades? I'll buy you one as a thank you for going to get mine. And she was like, I don't need one, but I'll get you one. I was like, okay, fine. So she goes over and she comes back with 2. So she goes, I was there for a little bit, but they looked so good, I decided to get one. I said, well, I offered. Like, that's great. Anyway, this is the container. Look, this is my head. Now, I do have a size small head. I will not lie about that. I don't usually share it, so you're getting very personal details from me right now. This cup was $5. It's so big. So I privately wrote to them on Instagram and I was like, you need to make this at least $8 because that's huge. I literally brought it home. This gave me something to sip on from about 9:30 in the morning, 9:15, 9:30 until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Even Rachel later, she texted me and she's like, I drank that for hours. So I was like, that was an enormous cup. I wonder how much it was. So I actually filled it up where they filled it up to, and I put it in my 4 cup measuring cup, and this is 3.5 cups of lemonade for $5. That's 28 ounces. I did write it on the cup because I can't remember things these days, but I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. So if you hear that J&C Lemon Squeeze is going to be nearby, and I will say, this is probably one of the nicest lemonades I've had in a really long time because it was not overly sweet and it wasn't overly tart. And there's a very fine line for that for me. And I really appreciated it. So thank you very much. I loved it. And yes, I will. I'm going to recycle the cup. I'm not keeping this. I know it seems like I'm like, no, it's my precious, but I really am. I'm going to recycle it. But I wanted to show you. So I made sure that I rinsed it out so that it was ready for the podcast recording. And then what else did we do? So Rachel's came to see me because she's hoping to sell there on July 25th. That Saturday. Which coincidentally I hadn't found out until just a moment ago. I will be back on the 25th to sell at the Campbellford Farmers Market because that's how good that market was. But anyway, my day continued. Torrential downpour started at like 10:30, 11, and it came in like waves. And then it kind of stopped around 12:30ish. So, but people still bought. People were still shopping. They came out with umbrellas and they all huddled under the tents. And no, it was a good shopping day. Like, it was a good crowd of people. It was really good. I do think that 3 of my jams walked off my table. But that's not irregular. Jams have walked off my table before. If I don't catch you and you're stealing my jam, that's between you and yourself. If I do catch you, though, I'm just forewarning you now. I played softball in high school, and I was the back catcher, and my entire table is missiles that are heavy. So that's just a little, just so you know, warning. Anyway, doesn't matter. 3 lone soldiers left for the fight and were never seen again. I hope they come up with some great tales and have a wonderful life. I bought lamb from Brayley Acres, which was sensational. Studio Grace. Okay, Studio Grace does jewelry. Beautiful woman. Beautiful woman. And she's very chic. She had like that really elegant, like minimalist outfit on. Gorgeous. Anyway, she was talking to Ava from Hello Farm about buying kimchi. My ears perk up immediately because I'm like, kimchi? I love kimchi. Kimchi? That's going to be a meme. Anyway, I love kimchi. And then, so they worked out that she was going to buy them, but sadly she wanted 4 and that was all of them. And I'm like, so for half the afternoon, I was like, how am I going to get Grace Studio to give me one of those kimchis? So at about 10 to close, I went over there and I was like, I'm willing to give you a couple extra dollars on top of what you paid for one of those kimchis. And she was like, yeah, sure. But I was so distracted that I didn't even take the time to like look at her jewelry. However, I did take a picture of her table. And since then I've been like, oh, look at this one. That necklace would be fantastic on me. So I'm glad I'm going back on the 25th because I'm going to have to stop by her table and buy something because her stuff is really, really pretty and unique. Anyway, I got one of these kimchis and I guess Ava's husband is like a chef and he made the kimchi. It was fantastic. I found it a little bit salty, but I know you have to use a lot of salt in kimchi because that's the preservative. I will say I have never had such a variety of beautiful, crunchy, organic vegetables in my kimchi before. And I purchased that on Saturday. I ate it today, which is Monday, and they nice and crunchy. Like they really held their firmness. I would purchase that again because it was very good. I really enjoyed it. Oh, okay. So I was beside the lovely community care girls who were doing a little like community outreach program. They were really sweet. They had donuts on their table. They offered me some. I had to turn them down because of celiac, but they were still really sweet about it. And then Tulip was there. Tulip the book fairy. She looks like a living anime character. Her costume detail was exquisite. It was so good and she was so beautiful. And then the rain came and Tulip doesn't have a tent. So Tulip left. Tulip couldn't stay. She couldn't read for the kids. But I mean, there weren't any kids there because it was raining. So I'm glad that I got to see her. I'm pretty sure she's back on the 25th when I get to go back, because I'm hoping to see her read to the kids because I think that'd be really, really sweet. Also, Lauren Hagerman was amazing. He was the entertainment for the day. He's actually, okay, so when he first showed up there, he looked a little lost, like he didn't know where he was going. He looked a little bit like someone's lost uncle who was going to take us all for a boat ride later, and then explain like all the rules to us to make sure that everyone's really, really safe. Anyway, I was like, oh, this is cute. Whatever. He starts singing. It sounded like someone had turned on the radio. He was right across from me. And he was not loud or intrusive at all. He set a beautiful tone. He was really, really good. And I said to the community care girls beside me, I'm like, he's really good. And the one girl goes, he's in my choir. He's in my church choir. And I was like, girl, she's like, I know, he's good, right? I'm like, he's very good. And he's like chill and not abrasive. And it's quite nice. I really enjoyed that. So out of everything I would say, the Campbellford Farmers Market, I'm going back. Clearly, I loved it. Great market. 5 out of 5. You got to go. And, okay, best location because the bank, TD Bank, is right there, right across the street. So when people come up to vendors and like your debit machine doesn't work because my internet wasn't working when I first got there. So that's half a star. I got to take half a star away. The internet's not great there. Maybe it was just for my phone. I don't know, but it wasn't working great. Anyway, people could literally, I had a couple of people do e-transfer, but you could walk over to the bank, get money out of the bank, but then the power went out, like an hour and a half near the end of close time. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I will say, I like when there's a bank near the farmer's market. That makes it much more convenient. Oh my gosh. And the gossip at the market. Do you know what everyone was talking about this weekend? That huge storm that hit on Wednesday, for Canada Day, when everyone was out at different markets and stuff. And I don't know if you've seen the videos. It was actually kind of upsetting, because people were at these festivals and they had weights on their tents and everything was secure, and then huge wind gusts came and literally tore their tents like they were cooked chickens, just ripped them right apart, and all of the people's stuff went everywhere. Like I felt like at first in the morning when I woke up, I was like, oh, I should have signed up for something today. And then once I saw those videos, I'm like, something back was keeping you from going anywhere today from that happening to you, because you got a lot on your plate already. You don't need to add that. But I feel just awful for all those people. And so many people north of me, their power went out for a couple of days. So they were all stressed out about trying to get ready for the markets on the weekends and stuff. So, and I will say that's the first time there's been a power outage and my home hasn't been affected. So that was kind of surprising because our house is usually always affected by power outages, which is crazy. Anyway, so everyone was talking about that at both the markets, which carried over to Codrington on Sunday. Everyone was still talking about it. I got there nice and early to set up. I brought all my fans, and by that I don't mean my adoring public. I mean literally like my fans to like keep me cool and stuff. I brought a little table fan and I had a huge Canon fan, and like every now and then I would just like shoot it at other people at the market to help cool them down. I just slapped myself on the leg. That's what that noise was. Oh, there was a lot of people on Sunday cutting through tents. I don't know if it was the heat though. I think maybe it was just making people a little crazy, but they were trying to walk through the tents. And no matter how much you do believe that your mother has eyes in the back of her head, it's not true. That's not her eyes, that's her ears. She can hear the difference between what's going on. The only problem is that when my kid's not around and I hear something behind me when there shouldn't be something behind me, childhood trauma makes me liable to throat punch you. So don't walk through people's tents. Come in, you go out the same way you came in, okay? And then that way no one gets hurt and I don't end up at jail, because that would suck. So that happened a little bit. Finally, Leanne at Codrington put a caution tape across the back so that people couldn't scooch through the back of mine, which I really appreciated. Oh God. And then I fed a man some jam. Okay, so this happens from time to time. I'm usually so focused on selling that I can catch it sometimes. But anyway, I was getting a bit of jam. I get the jam on the stick. I go to hand it to him, but not up near his mouth, like near his chest. And he went, "Ow," right off the stick while I'm holding it. The woman standing beside him, she goes, and I'm like, ugh, I hate it. I hate it every time it happens. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to have to charge you extra for that." And the guy goes, "Yeah, no, it's okay." And then he turned around and he left. He didn't even buy it. He didn't even buy jam after I had fed him. Like I was mummy. Like, that's gross. Anyway, she was like, "Oh my God." I'm like, I know. I'm sorry you had to see that. It happens more than I'd like to admit. And it's usually older white guys. I don't know if they have mummy issues or they just feel so entitled, but they will literally eat it off of the stick. So I have tried to make an effort to hold the sticks down quite low when I'm dealing with men on their own. But I was like, "Thank you for being here and witnessing my trauma." And she was like, "I'm so sorry that happened." And I was like, "It comes with the territory." I'm like, "What's your name?" She's like, "Jackie." I'm like, "Oh, Jackie, we're like new best friends now." "Thank you for sharing my trauma with me." And she was like, "You're welcome. I'm really sorry." I'm like, "I'm sorry for you too." Because you had to witness it. Anyway, so that happened. That probably happens to me about once a day. Now, if you have a guy in your life who does that, can you like immediately give him crap and just say like, "No, ew," like shame him as hard as you possibly can, because I just don't think they're learning quick enough. So that happened. And then my girl Barb stopped by, which totally perked me up. She bought one of those really cute, she went to Waterfront Festival in Coburg about 2 weeks ago, and she bought Evolve. Comes to these things. They're a fashion, like they make clothes, like a fashion store / tent. And so she bought one of these really cute, like onesie overall things in really nice light fabric. And they're not crazy expensive. They're actually extremely reasonably priced. And she looked absolutely adorable. And then she went over and flirted with the meat guys. But it turns out the meat guys actually live near both of us. So I said, "Barb, you got to give me the intel so I can get my meat from the meat guys when I haven't got to the grocery store. I can stop by the meat guys and get some meat." And she was like, "Yeah, sure." So she was trying to tell me where they live. And I'm like, dee. I'm really bad with directions. Thank goodness for Google Maps. So it was nice seeing Barb. And then Cindy. Okay, so at Codrington this week, I got really lucky. Betty, the knitting lady, was away. I had Cindy with 1852 Fiber Mill on my left, and I had Haley from Cheese Union on my right. So at one point, Cindy jumped over to my booth. I went over to Dang to see if I could get curry. And again, both days I couldn't get curry from Dang. So Dang did well, very well this weekend. And I looked back towards my tent and I saw a stick with jam go through the air. And I was like, "Ooh, someone's at my tent." So I ran over. Cindy had sold 2 of my jams to a lovely Quebec gentleman who apparently comes to town the same week every year with his family and comes to the Codrington Farmers Market and buys my jam, which was very sweet of him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll see you next weekend. He's like, we're leaving Saturday. And I'm like, oh no, I only have the one flavor left. You came too late in the day. And he's like, I know. I'm like, oh, sorry. Anyway, so Cindy was very sweet. She helped sell some jam for me, which was very cool. And Haley was beside me. Haley always brings her dog Rupert. I think his name's Rupert. She's told me twice, guys. I can't remember names. I'm sorry, Haley. I know you watch the podcast. You know I adore you. I call her dog Cheese Tax because every time, if you have a dog, you know the moment cheese comes out of your fridge, you start cutting it. The dog is there. They want the cheese. It's the Cheese Tax. There's whole videos dedicated to Cheese Tax online. So anyways, I call him Cheese Tax. He's a very well-behaved dog. The only times he ever barked were when other dogs were kind of getting out of hand. He was kind of like the market dog boss. So he got a little sassy with some other dogs, and I really appreciated that. So if you ever go over to see Haley and get some cheese, say hi to Cheese Tax. Okay, so what's going on this week? I'm going to market. Let me try that again. I'm going to market at Memorial Park in Port Hope Thursday from 3 until 8, 3p till 8p. Now, I know that this comes out on Friday, so I went yesterday, and I have so much to tell you about. Today's actually Monday, so I don't know anything. I'm not gonna know until next week. So, but I'll report back once I have the goods. I think it's gonna be really great. There's like music in the band shell, and there's like food vendors, like people barbecuing and stuff. And like the kids' playground is right there, and Port Hope is so freaking beautiful. Come say hi. I love Port Hope. We lived there for like 10 years, so I highly recommend that town. It's so gorgeous. I mean, even Stephen King is filming his It movies there. My wedding venue's in the background of It. So at one point when all the heroes are walking down the main street, I'm like, oh, look, right there. See that in the corner? That's where I got married. That's where my reception was for my wedding. Oh, Incredible Edible Festival. I said it. I did it. Good job, Beck. That's on Saturday in Campbellford, where I just was. Literally where I just was, right there is where the market's going to be. It's kind of like around the farmer's market a little bit. That's going to be absolutely incredible. So many of our friends are going to be there. Porch Dog Coffee, Basoli Sauces, Clark Blossoms, Josh. I'm looking at you, babes. Mi Cocina Foods with a Rizbe is going to be there. I assume a Rizbe is going to be there. It's like the most happening place. I assume a Rizbe would go and do it. Northumberland Soapworks, Nancy, who I haven't seen in an age, so I hope they have a really good day. Hub Sauce Co., we're new buddies. He was just showing me his his cowboy candy. It was like a strawberry brine on jalapenos, and I was like, oh, it looked like Pepto-Bismol on peppers. And I was like, oh, it looks like someone's been ill. And he's like, you wouldn't believe how delicious it is. I'm like, I'm sure it's delicious. There's so many times where I take a picture of my jam and it's bad lighting and it makes it look like putrid. But I was like, I'm excited. So I'm hoping that he'll stop by on Sunday at Codrington and let me try a jar of that because it looks amazing. Toller Pizza. Jordan, forgive me. I'm sorry, honey. He's going to be there. And so is Salsa Time. Larry, who is also a sponsor of one of the previous episodes of the NoCoFM podcast. Oh, and Lorne Hagerman's going to be there. The guy I was talking about who's performing at Campbellford on Saturday, he's going to be there singing. So you get to see what I'm talking about. You get to go and see the human radio. There's a beer garden, live tunes, farm animals, which is cool. And there's going to be a shuttle bus in from the YMCA. That's on Front Street South from 10 until 6. So obviously the farmer's market will open at 9 and go on for about an hour. And then the Incredible Edible will start and that will continue till 6. If I haven't made it clear already, I'm pretty sure I have. My home base this year is Codrington Farmers Market. Sundays, 10 until 1 at 2992 County Road 30 in Codrington. Also, if you didn't catch that number, just go on your Google Maps and type in Cod Ring Ton Farmers Market, and it'll take you right to us. Thanks, Stonehouse Candle Co. for sponsoring today's episode. I really appreciate it. Rachie, you're such a good friend. I got your candles here. I love the Sun-Kissed Holiday, so I'm about halfway done that one. I couldn't bring down my dark orchid. My dark orchid has like this much in the bottom of it. I'm going to have to restock. But she didn't have any ready for last week. She had to restock. And I've got strawberry and chantilly, which I really enjoy. It smells a lot like a Campino candy. Do you remember those things? Anyway, I absolutely love them. I got to grab a couple. I'm going to take some to my friend Polly out west too, because I'm leaving in a week to go to BC. But don't worry, through the magic of pre-recording, you will not miss a week of podcasting. So thank you so much, Rach. I really appreciate it. Stonehouse Candle Co. You can find them on Instagram at StoneHouseCCO. That way you just know like where she's selling all the time. And she's got such great scents, guys. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it today. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends so we can keep doing this. I'm Rebecca, the Naughty Jam Lady, and I hope you have a great weekend. Cheers.